My best friend's girlfriend fixed my food and made it taste as salty as the sea because she thinks she is better than me. Now she's choking on the consequences. I am a foodie. My closest friends and I decided to have dinner and board game night last week, which my best friend Clark volunteered to host. He requested me to cook my spicy Italian sausage pasta and said that I could cook my pasta dish at his house. He even joked that he gets to keep any of the leftovers. I arrived at Clark's house a few hours early with my ingredients and board games from my collection. Clark's girlfriend of 4 months, Sasha, let me in the house. I asked her where Clark was, and she said he was doing errands and buying snacks and refreshments for later. I proceeded to the kitchen to prepare the ingredients and start cooking. My cooking of the sauce went well. The flavors were balanced to my liking. After finishing the sauce, I took it off the heat and prepared a pot of water for the pasta. I then went to the guest bathroom to shower and change clothes. After freshening up, I headed back to the kitchen. On my way back, I asked Sasha, who was in the living room, where Clark was. She said he was on his way and would return in 20 minutes. She then told me this. Oh, by the way, I tasted your tomato sauce and it lacks salt. I saw this video, and the chef said the sauce should be as salty as the sea. Don't worry, I've already fixed your sauce. You're welcome. I thought she was kidding, so I just responded, thanks, I guess. I was also worried that she oversalted my sauce. I quickly made my way back to the kitchen to taste my sauce. To my horror, my complex balanced sauce was now as salty as the Dead Sea. I was fuming because my sauce was ruined by, in Gordon Ramsay's words, an idiot sandwich. She misheard the advice from the video because you're supposed to have the pasta water as salty as the sea, not the sauce. I wanted to scold Sasha for ruining my sauce, but I had to fix my sauce first because my friends were bound to arrive in less than an hour. Unfortunately, I don't have the time or the ingredients to make a new sauce. I added a mix of lemon juice and honey, a can of crushed tomatoes, tomato paste, and water splashes. I minimized the sauce's saltiness, but the sauce was still off. I was thinking of no longer serving my dish, but my friends were excited about my food, and I didn't want to waste food. I just hoped no one would notice how bad the sauce was. My friends arrived, and we all sat at the dinner table. While eating, I noticed my friends pushing my pasta to the sides of their plates. Once everyone was ready for dessert, I offered to help Lexi prepare and serve the desserts. When Lexi and I were alone in the kitchen, she asked me why my pasta was so salty. That's when I told her everything. I told Lexi I'd let it go, and we should enjoy the rest of the night. I was doing so well not to show that I was bothered. But then Clark and Sasha approached me and said my pasta dish was saltier than he remembered. I wanted to say that his GF ruined my dish, but I allowed her to own up for her mistake. So, I told him that I had no idea what went wrong. I mentioned that I properly salted my food, tasted the sauce as I went along, and made it a point to say my pasta water was seawater salty, but that has never affected the saltiness of my pasta dishes. When I said the pasta water thing, I looked at Sasha. She did not say anything. I ended the conversation by saying I sometimes have my off days. It's been a week since the pasta incident, and I still feel disrespected by what Sasha did. I want to tell my best friend that his GF fucked up my dish, but I don't want to make a big issue over pasta sauce. Update. I met with Clark for lunch to tell him about last week's board game night. I told him that Sasha oversalted my sauce because of a video she saw, and I tried my best to fix it but failed. I also allowed her to fess up, but she stayed silent. I apologized for lying to him and taking the blame for her mistake because I was afraid of confrontation, and I didn't want the rest of the game night to be ruined by throwing her under the bus. I was afraid he wouldn't believe me, and that I was deflecting the blame back to Sasha. Instead, he said, that makes much more sense. He then told me more about Sasha. When he met Sasha, she was trying to make lifestyle content. Currently, she wants to make cooking videos, but the videos she watched for inspiration were cooking hacks, where people were dumping dried pasta, raw meat, tons of cheese, etc., in a baking dish, and then throwing it in the oven to cook. She even saw the countertop spaghetti video she wanted to make for Clark's dad and sister when they were at his house during the holidays. He refused to let her do that. Before we finished our meal, I told Clark to talk to his girlfriend, and I expected an apology from her, and for her to also apologize to the rest of our friends for ruining last week's dinner. After a few hours, I got a call from Clark. They got into a huge fight, and they broke up. When he asked her to apologize, she refused and threw a fit. She was so annoyed that Clark would rave about Lexi's food and me, but never did the same when she cooked for him. He said he always thanked and appreciated her efforts, but sometimes her cooking didn't go well. In her rant, she said that fixing the sauce was her way of saying she was better than me, but when her plan backfired, she kept quiet and let me take the blame. But what got Clark to break up with her was when she called Clark and our friend group a bunch of useless losers. He, in turn, defended us by saying that we were the most reliable, supportive group of friends he'd ever had. He told her to get out, and they were over. It seemed